The United States of America is going into its 59th presidential election on 3rd November 2020. The world is watching the contest closely, not just because of the two primary candidates, the Democrats Joe Biden and the Republicans Donald Trump, but also because of Biden's pick for Vice President Kamala Harris. One of the primary reasons for this is that Harris is half Indian and half African American. She is the first Indian American chosen for the post by either party. This then leads to the question, how are Indian Americans or Asian Americans at large going to vote on 3rd November 2020? Research tells us that Asian Americans are the fastest growing segment of eligible voters out of the major racial and ethnic groups in America. More than 11 million Asian Americans are eligible to vote in the upcoming elections. The number of Asian American eligible voters has grown by 139%, while Hispanic voters grew by 121%. The black and white electorates grew at slower rates of 33 and 7% respectively. Around 57% of Asian Americans are eligible to vote, which means that about 6 in 10 Asians can vote in the upcoming election. Despite these seemingly robust numbers, the overall picture shows that Asian Americans are just about 3% of the total electorate. There are varying percentages within the states, as some states have Asian Americans make up just 1%, while a few others have around 5% of this group in its electorate. Let us take a bit of a detour here before we get into the next statistic to understand what the swing states or battleground states are. In the USA, there are some states that typically have more supporters of either the Republicans or the Democrats. But there are 12 states that have roughly an equal number of supporters for both and so could swing either way during an election. These are the battleground states, and they are often considered crucial in a party's victory or defeat. In 9 of these 12 traditional swing states, Asian Americans constitute only about 2% of the electorate. At 8%, Nevada is the only swing state where Asian Americans make up more than 5% of the electorate. But given the fact that the victor in swing states is often decided by a thin margin, the presence of the Asian American community in these states, no matter the size, can turn things around. Now let us zoom in on the Indian diaspora. The UN tells us that India has the largest diaspora in the world. The USA is the second most preferred country for Indians to migrate to, right after the UAE. According to 2018 data, there are over 2.65 million Indians in the US. According to a 2018 study, at around 50%, most of the Indian American voter base is likely to identify as Democrats and only about 18% identifies as Republicans. But whether the numbers remain the same in 2020 is not certain, especially after Donald Trump's outreach efforts towards the Indian American community involving Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Despite it being a relatively small community, the reality is that both the Republicans and the Democrats are keen on securing the Indian American vote. Over 50,000 people attended the Howdy Modi event that Trump hosted for Modi in September 2019. There, Modi referred to the slogan "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar," which was used during the 2016 US election campaign along the lines of Modi's 2014 catchphrase "Ab ki baar Modi Sarkar." This is widely seen as Modi's endorsement of Trump for the 2020 elections. But the challenge for Trump is that his immigration policy, including the suspension of H-1B visas and green cards, can alienate the Indian American community. The Trump administration's handling of the George Floyd case and the resultant Black Lives Matter movement can also have a negative impact on his chances among a diasporic community. Biden's supporters, on the other hand, have launched an outreach program to the Indian American community in 14 Indian languages. The slogan in Hindi goes, "America ka neta kaisa ho, Joe Biden jaisa ho." The selection of Kamala Harris as Biden's running mate and her own personal outreach to Indian Americans only makes the guessing game more interesting. Like Trump, Biden has a challenge ahead of him too vis-a-vis the Indian American community, as he has expressed opposition to the Citizenship Amendment Act, which has the potential to upset a section of the Hindu American community. But all this speculation aside, The reality is that we have to wait and watch as to which of these campaigns is more successful in securing the Indian American vote and to what extent the community acts as the deciding factor in the upcoming elections. This was a quick explainer on the status of the Asian and Indian American voter. For detailed reading, you can read our article on the Factly website. The link is in the description. If you found this video useful, do like and share it with your family and friends. Thank you for watching.